Welcome to Waywut, your weekly verbal double take. This is a rabbit hole podcast where a couple of old guys do moderate to shallow dives into various topics, ranging from true crime, paranormal, sports, pop culture, or anything else that we find interesting. We drop episodes every Tuesday and on Fridays if we feel like it. You can follow us on Facebook, X, and TikTok. We appreciate you joining us. And now that we got all this self-promotion stuff out of the way, here we go.
Why, hello there. My name is Jason, and welcome back to your weekly verbal double take. On this episode, I am holding the paddles and charging to max volts as I bring us another topic that made me say, wait, what? Joining me as always with his hospital gown being worn backwards is Darrell.
No. I am not an exhibitionist in any shape, form, or fashion. I am quite bashful.
And just for medical purposes.
I mean, technically, whenever I had that kidney stone, they were doing like some ultrasounds down there, and I was really, really fucking high on morphine. And I was being, I don't want to say fondled, because that makes it sound like sexier than what it was. But my wife and this sono technician were like having to move my junk around to like do things. And even in my haze of highness, which I was so high because I was in so much pain, my wife was like, enjoy it. It's the only time you're going to have two women handling your junk.
You can't talk to me that way.
You don't know what my past was.
Well, Darrell, this episode is going to be a little bit of a roller coaster. We're going to have a little bit of ebbs and flows. We're going to have some highs and lows. But it's going to be a fun one.
Okay.
Well, it's going to be a fun discussion. I don't know if we're going to have that much fun. We'll see.
All right. You're kind of... I don't know where you're going with this, but all right.
All right. We're going to start off with a low part. We have all suffered a loss, whether it was a close family member, a longtime friend, your lover, or a close family pet. The loss is handled differently by everyone. The time it takes for someone to grieve can't be judged. I know this from experience. The best one can do is take one day at a time, and eventually the hurt subsides. The saying, time heals all wounds, rings so true. Your heart is still broken, but you have learned how to continue on. I say all of this as my family and I had to lay to rest our German Shepherd Oakley. We have had close to 10 years. She hung on for as long as she could from her prior diagnosis back in September of lymphoma. It was a very difficult decision, but it was the right choice to do. She was hurting, and we knew what we had to do. She was a fantastic companion. She protected the house from all intruders. Her hit list included numerous rats, birds, and even a possum. Not sure if it was really dead, as it could just have been being itself. I'm not really sure. But it sure was dead when I picked it up on that shovel.
I see what you're saying there.
And if you were lucky enough, she would even hump your leg.
She attempted.
Yeah.
I was not as willing participant like you, but okay.
No, I made her look at me in the eyes and she would stop. Don't shame me. Look away. No, you will look at me. You will look at me. You will put some emotion into this.
We don't just jump into your style. We got to do it missionary first. It was funny, just the way you'd get her to start humping the air.
It shows like she was trying to show her dominance, or she showed that she really liked you and didn't know how to express it, or I don't know. It was weird. And then you would stop her, and she would still be stuck in hump. So she'd be humping the air for a good 10 seconds as she's walking by, just still. She couldn't turn it off. Once she gets it going, she just kept it going. Well, as we left the vet, it reminded me of leaving the hospital for the last time when my dad passed. My heart hurt so bad that I thought my heart was actually broken. Now, for an up, we're going to bring it back up.
Thank you. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. You're just like, okay, it's the beginning of this episode. I want all you to know in the first 4 minutes, to fucking go away and don't listen.
No,
Because
no.
I'm gonna bub you out. Just like somebody's like, man, I'm having an awful day. I'm gonna listen to Waywut. They always make me laugh. Jason's
Hmm.
like, my dog is dead, and I
Hmm.
remember when my dad died. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I'm gonna drive my car off a bridge now. Thanks, Jason.
No, I'm gonna tie it all together. I promise. It's
Okay,
gonna be all tied together. Now, to change gears, I love the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Do you like
good
that
movie.
movie? Yes, love
Although
it.
it still has one of it traumatized me, but I don't know if that's one of the things you're gonna talk about, but it traumatized the hell out of me.
Well, we'll see if it's the same part.
Okay.
So many funny moments. Seeing Christopher Lloyd as a bad guy with those red beady eyes and that high pitched voice is still
Just
creepy today.
like this.
Yeah, that would scared you.
No,
Oh,
I
was it
said
the
traumatized, not scared.
shoe being put in the?
Yes,
Mm,
it broke my heart. I mean, that is like evil. Why does he get to kill a tune that didn't do anything wrong? He should have been arrested on the spot. That is murder. It
yeah,
was awful. Poor thing. It was like whimpering. It's just I'm not okay with it.
yeah. It was a very gruesome scene for a cartoon type
I mean, if he was
death.
gonna kill a tune, he should have killed a bad tune or something. I don't know.
Yeah, not just a funny
Not an
little
innocent
shoe.
shoe.
Yeah, a funny squeaky shoe.
Yeah, an
Mm,
asshole.
yeah. Well, I love the way they mixed the tunes as if they were real with humans. It gave the movie an edge over just a normal cartoon. However, as we were just talking about, with this being cartoon oriented, you can't really just kill the bad guys, even though we just talked about a death in this show. You must do it like a cartoon would. So, one of the ways a good guy, Detective Eddie Valiant, would do this was to make them laugh. Laugh, you say? Yes. Judge Doom alluded to it earlier to his weasel henchmen that their idiot cousin laughed himself to death. So, cue the carnival music, laughter, and in this movie's case, death.
Spoilers.
Yeah. If you ain't seen that by now, come on. That's a great movie. Now, changing into third gear. Picture this. You're walking through your house. Unknown to you is your child hiding in your closet behind your clothes, just waiting for the right moment. You enter the closet and boo! First you let out this
Bam.
girlish yeah. First you let out this girlish shriek and stumble backwards. You then clutch your chest and mutter the words, "You scared me to death." I know having a heart attack is common for a surprise such as that, as your shithead kid jumping out at you. But now I have laid the foundation for three questions. Can you die from a broken heart? Can you die from laughing too much? And can you die from being scared, not including any heart attacks? So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Is that where all this led to? Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
Jason. You went down like the weirdest fucking like
I
like
gave three
hobbit
intros.
journey. You went through like a hobbit journey that I still don't quite understand, but yeah, whatever. I'm pretty sure somebody might be doing mushrooms while they listen to us. They'll be like, I totally fucking get it, dude.
Yeah, man. Hey, we're talking about a loss and a broken heart, talking about the funny movie Roger Rabbit, and then talking about how you could possibly die from getting scared to death.
I mean, I could also say, like, never mind. I'm not going to do it. No, just go on.
All right, the first question. Can you die from a broken heart? The simplest answer is yeah, you can. It is known as the broken heart syndrome.
They really
According
went
to,
out of their way naming that one.
I know, kind of like naming the kitchen appliances the toaster and the blender.
Or Lou Gehrig dying from Lou Gehrig's disease.
What a coincidence, right?
I know. He's like, what? What do you mean I have that? Anyway, go.
Oh man, that's
I
funny.
knew my parents shouldn't have named me after that fucking thing.
God, of all the diseases, I had to get the one named after myself.
I mean, I remember that kid that I don't have anymore that I named AIDS. God rest his soul.
It stood for something, right? Those were his initials.
No, it's his name.
Was he first HIV first before he changed his name
No,
to?
it's just AIDS holiday. God rest his soul.
Oh my god.
Cross myself and I'm spiritu feliz, all that.
Man, all right. According to the American Heart Association, broken heart syndrome, or Takotsubo cardiomyopathy, yeah, is a reaction your heart has to a surge of stress hormones caused by an emotionally stressful event. Broken heart syndrome causes the heart to stop operating normally, resulting in heart failure. During these situations, the body releases an increase of hormones, which temporarily paralyzes your heart and limits its standard functionality. This syndrome is different in that it can develop in anyone, even someone who is healthy. Those suffering from broken heart syndrome experience a sudden pain in their chest and shortness of breath, which is why many mistake it for a heart attack. Heart attacks cause a complete blockage of arteries to the chest, while broken heart syndrome causes arteries to slow blood flow. When their
Ooh.
heart is scanned, no blood vessel blockage or death of cardiac muscle is seen. Pretty interesting.
I mean, I believe it. I believe it because, like, I know in my past, whenever there was like a significant emotional upheaval,
Hmm.
like you feel it in your chest.
Yeah,
You feel it. It is like a knot in your chest,
it
and
hurts.
it's
Yeah,
yeah painful.
there's nothing
Uh,
physical about it. It just hurts inside. Yeah.
no,
It's an
no,
emotion.
it felt physical.
Well, yeah. I mean, nothing. Nobody slapped you, or you didn't cut
No, yeah,
yourself, or
this is
something to
yeah, it was like
make
a
yourself hurt.
knot
Yeah,
right there in your chest, and yeah, it feels like it's gonna kill you. Yeah, yeah, it
yeah,
makes sense, and I guess, of course, it's got to have some sort of body count. So I guess, I
yeah.
guess it's
Well,
real.
speaking of a body count, the most famous probable example of this was after the death of Carrie Fisher, better known as Princess Leia from Star Wars. Her mother, Debbie Reynolds, died just one day after the death of her daughter. She was quoted as saying, "I want to be with Carrie." Her cause of death is unknown to this day.
Well, apparently, it might be known because
Uh,
I guess broken heart syndrome doesn't show up in the autopsies.
when they do a test, they don't show any kind of vessel blockage or any kind of death of the cardiac muscle like you would see in a heart
It's not
attack. But
soaked in cortisol or anything.
mm-mm.
I mean, that's stress hormones. So that's all I was
Yeah.
asking.
Well, I have seen this often in my line of work. I had seen many times a death certificate for a spouse and then seen another death certificate for the surviving spouse just a few weeks or a couple of months later. In fact, a U.S. study following 12,000 people who are over 50 years old and in stable couples showed that male participants were nearly twice as likely to die in 3 months following their partner's death.
I believe that.
They've been taken care of their whole life by their wife, and now they're gone, and they don't know how to continue, and they
Yeah,
miss them so much. Yeah.
yeah. Gee, thanks, Jason. You're really bringing it down again. Appreciate
Well,
it.
now we're going to bring it.
You know, if I see a significant drop in our views and downloads after this episode,
Mhm.
I'm going to blame you, and it's not you'll be all like, "Oh, Darrell, we can win them back." I'll be like, "Not unless you could raise the dead, because apparently you drove everybody to hurt themselves."
Maybe they laughed too hard.
Hey,
That's just
Debbie
what I'm going to
Downer.
talk about next. Good segue. Thanks for laying it out for me, Daryl. All right, next question. Can you laugh yourself to death? Once again, the simplest answer is yeah, you can. I'm going to stay away from the heart related reasons or choking. Those seem to be obvious. So is asthma getting flared up because of a fit of laughter. Here's a quote from a Dr. Dawar. The act of laughter induces alterations in thoracic cavity pressure, influencing internal organ dynamics and the transmission of signals to the brain. Extreme laughter may induce risk that may manifest through complications such as choking and impeding proper respiration, thereby hindering oxygen intake and subsequently disrupting the oxygenation of brain cells, leading to potential cerebral dysfunction. Now, there was a lot of doctor words there, but he basically said if you laugh too hard, you can choke or your asthma can flare up. But what he said there at the end of the potential cerebral dysfunction, that is what I'm going to stick to.
You know, before you jump into cerebral dysfunction, I'm trying to remember that dude Chad in like high school. He didn't go to our school. He went to that other school. He's knew him from Trail Dust.
Oh yeah.
Didn't he have like a lung just collapse out of nowhere one day?
I'm not sure. I
I
know
was trying to
he's
remember if he
still
because
with
I'm
us.
no, yeah, no, you can have a lung collapse and live. I just could remember, like if they figured out what it triggered it, if he's like laughing hard and like whatever. But I mean, he had a lung collapse. I could have sworn.
Maybe, I don't know. The first is laughter-induced syncope. Now, syncope is a fancy word for fainting. It is a type of vasovagal syncope. This means when your body overreacts to certain triggers, such as a sight of blood or extreme emotional distress. This overreaction causes a sudden drop in heart rate and blood pressure, leading to reduced blood flow to the brain and a brief loss of consciousness. This vasovagal syncope can also be triggered by coughing, defecation, and micturition. Better known.
Defecation, you can
Hmm.
shit yourself into passing out.
Yeah, remember? It's attached to that little vagus nerve, so if you could shit and pass out.
Okay,
But
I
it can
mean,
also be by pissing on yourself.
that's weird.
Yeah.
I remember so that time that I sliced my finger open. So this is a
Hmm.
story about Jason being a hero.
I
I
was
was
about
trying to.
to.
I was fixing a knife. So I had one of those knives where you push the button and it pops out. Not a switchblade, because you'd push the button and it would go back in. Well, that knife broke, and I was trying to fix the spring on it. And while I was trying to do that, it slipped and it sliced open the top of my finger. Immediately, I put pressure on the wound, ran to the kitchen, turned on the water with my elbow, and then I took my hand off of it to wash out the wound, and I saw my finger just split open, and I felt all my blood just leave my head and go away, and I was like, "Oh God!" And I was by myself, so I had to like text Jason with like my pinky
Yes, it was
on
very
my
brief
phone,
text. It wasn't
saying,
very good
"Jason,
ones.
take me to the
Yeah.
emergency room, please." And I got the messages somewhere. Maybe Maybe I'll screenshot them and put them in the video for those of you that want to read. And I don't remember it,
Yeah, this
but
is actually a pretty good one.
yeah, because I think at first you're kind of like in the middle of something. But anyways, but yeah, I almost passed out. I did learn, and this is a helpful tip for anybody that is by themselves that actually slice themselves open or something and think they're about to pass out, or anytime you would think you're going to pass out. If you feel like that, just lay down on the floor. If you like lay down on, especially not a carpet floor, but like a linoleum floor, the cold will kind of jar you back in. At least that's what I was told.
Oh,
I sat down. Whenever you came there, I was sitting there putting pressure on the wound, hand above my head, sitting in a rocking chair, just sitting
yeah,
there
because
rocking.
at that point when I got there, you weren't answering the door. I wasn't sure on the severity of the cut,
It
and I
was
was like, I thought you may have already passed out. I was going to knock the door down.
glad
I
you didn't.
was. I
No,
was
no,
going to kick it down.
it was just hard to work while you're holding the finger. I mean, fine now. I think I still got like a little bit of numbness where I cut through some nerves, but
Still, getting a shot on the tip of your finger to get stitches is not
Dude,
pleasant.
oh, it wasn't a tip, it was top. But yeah, I forget. Were you still there when they were working on me?
Uh-uh.
Oh, I fucking whenever they put that needle in there, I screamed.
Yeah,
I I straight up screamed. I was like, "Fuck!"
there was this part on Prison Break. Prison Break was a show on Fox. I don't know if anybody's watched it, but
Dear
there was
God, Jason.
a
Anyway, go ahead.
torture scene in there where he was torturing the captor of his son kidnapper or whatever. And the way he did it was he would put electrodes on the tip of their fingers and stick little needles in them. And that's how he tortured them, was on the tips of his fingers because of all the sensitivity and the nerve endings.
Mm, yuck.
Yeah. Wow. Well, speaking of all that, although this is not considered fatal, passing out can always lead to severe injury. The American Journal of Medicine has documented 3 cases. One they sort of debunked, but 2 have been diagnosed with laughter-induced syncope. The first case was in 2007 when a 29-year-old man experienced syncope, hit his head, went in an uncontrollable fit of laughter, leading to a brief loss of consciousness. His medical tests were normal, except the tilt table test was positive for vasovagal syncope. Now, I question this one because sometimes when you, like for instance, when you hurt yourself real bad, some people laugh to try to shock themselves out of thinking they're actually in pain.
I whenever I was in that car wreck when I was 15 years old, when I was 15 years old, I was in a car wreck where I was in the back seat of a Toyota Tercel. I didn't have my seatbelt on, and the car flipped end over end and rolled. And whenever it did, I went out the window.
I remember
And
that.
whenever I went out the window, I'm trying to remember. I guess I went legs first because the car landed on my legs, but and then whenever it did, my upper body was inside the car, while my lower body was underneath the door. It drug me on the ground for a little bit, but fortunately, it was like grass. It was really tall grass at that point
Hmm.
wherever I fell out of the car. And so whenever it stopped and everybody else got out of the car, and they're like, "Darrell, come on!" And I'm like, "I can't." And they're like, "Where are you?" I was like, "The
I got a
car's
car
on
on
my
me.
legs." Uh, yeah, so they pushed the car off of me, and I was very scared, and I tried to like move, and I said I was able to stand up. And I started laughing, and they're like, "Why are you laughing?" I was like, "We just fucking survived that shit." So yeah, I get that.
Yeah. But what was weird about it was it wasn't just a brief bit of laughter and then pass out because of the pain. It was uncontrollable one, and then he passed out. So that kind of leads to the laughter induced syncope
Okay.
in
So
my
he
instance,
had some sort of weird psychological reaction where his reaction was just to laugh and way too hard.
and pass out. Huh?
Yeah, okay. Weird.
Yeah, another one. Uh, in 2005, a healthy 32-year-old barber heard a very funny story from a client. He passed out. This patient had no heart problems and all lab results were normal. The question remains, what was the funny story? I
You
could
know,
not find it. No.
I'm dying to know because I wonder if it's one of those ones where it's like, you're going to hell for laughing at this.
Mm.
Because I generally laugh at that, and I wonder if it's like, making some jokes about like, retarded people or Jewish people or something, and they're like, you laugh, you're going to hell, and then they do, and then he's like,
Plus, it's in a barber shop, so we know it's got to be a good one.
dicey.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't find it. I looked all over for it and nothing. Just nothing. Well, there is another way laughing can get you. It is called a pseudo bulbar effect. This involves uncontrolled or inappropriate episodes of laughing or crying. Now, I want to stop right there so we can talk about all the possibilities of the awkward places that this could happen.
Okay, talk.
No, I'll let you go first. I thought you had them all lined up already.
But places where you can like laugh till you cry or cry and laugh.
No, inappropriate episode of laughing or crying. So you could be
Oh,
sitting in a funeral, and instead of crying, you just start bursting out in laughter.
I never think it's an inappropriate time to laugh. I mean, like some of the funniest jokes that we made was at at your dad's funeral.
Mm-hmm.
We were cracking jokes there. Inappropriate crying. I mean, I think all crying is inappropriate. I hate it. So, uh, I mean,
Yeah, it's
I,
never
I
had a
guess.
fun time.
I mean, I'm gonna say like the worst inappropriate laughing ever, and this is gonna sound so stupid, was when I was at a PGA tour event,
Mm-hmm.
and it
I take that
wasn't
shit
like,
seriously.
well, it wasn't that. It's just that you're supposed to be quiet. Whenever
Mm-hmm.
when they're taking their shots, they got all those people that stand there with their hands up, and they got the signs that say quiet or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's a golfer named Stephen Ames, and he's and kind of looks a little squinty, and he's got very large teeth and stuff. And I thought he was a little silly looking. And my dad, who was at this golf tournament, at this PGA tournament with me, I look over at him, and he's sitting there going like this. And they got the quiet signs up, and I'm trying not to laugh. And he just keeps looking at me, going, "Oh, this is." And I'm trying so hard not to laugh, and it hurts so much.
Yeah.
My
At
dad
that
was
point, you gotta let it out.
yeah, my dad was the master of this. I mean, because there's a period of time where we would we would go play poker up at a VFW about once a week, drink beer and stuff. And then it was a good 30-40 minutes from our house to get there. And there were times where, on the drive, I'd make sure I pissed before we left VFW, but you know how
Mhm.
beer is, it multiplies inside your
Yeah.
bladder. And we'd be like still a good 15-20 minutes from home, and it would be bad. Like, where you're pinching the
Mhm.
tip,
But it
trying to
hurts.
keep it closed, and you're just
Yeah.
like, oh God, I'm dying. And that's when my dad would decide to be the funniest man on the planet. All of a sudden,
He wants you to piss yourself.
all these jokes and stuff that I'd never heard before. Well, he wouldn't exactly be telling me jokes. He would be silly. He'd be a lot wittier than normal, which I mean, he's a witty guy anyways. But all of a sudden, like, he would bust them all out. Like, it was his life's goal to make me laugh until I pissed myself, with me begging him to just, exit off the highway, pull over out of a road. I don't care. Go to a gas station. I'll piss off the side of the road. I don't care. I'm just dying. And he's just wanting to be the funniest guy in the world at that point. And I can't even. And here's the funny thing: I can't remember a single thing that he said that was making me laugh while I was in that horrible situation. But all I remember is sitting there just dying and trying not to laugh, and him making me
That's what
laugh.
that's what makes it worse. Trying to hold it in, knowing you're not supposed to laugh, and you still, if you do, something bad could happen.
Yeah.
Is great. Well, of course, these inappropriate episodes of laughing or crying, they don't match your internal emotional state. Although episodes of laughing or crying may seem appropriate for the triggering event, such as seeing or hearing something funny or sad, they tend to be more difficult to restrain. They can also be more intense and last longer than you would ordinarily expect, or happen for no apparent reason.
Here's a question. All right. Say you're seeing like a dead loved one,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm pretty sure you're aware of this, but gas builds up inside of dead bodies.
Mm-hmm.
If you're viewing the body of a dead loved one before they're embalmed, and their dead body lets out a big long fart, do you laugh or cry? Is it sad that this is the last time I'm gonna hear him blast ass, or
No,
is
you
it
gotta
funny
laugh. You
because
gotta
he
laugh.
he let one more go?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Look at him, still farting, still letting him go. You couldn't
Just
hold
curious.
it? Come on.
I'm not sure which would be the appropriate response. So
I think you would have to laugh. You would
okay.
have to. You have to find some reason to laugh at that moment. Now, this is from damaged neurological circuitry in your brain. It can be described as a brain condition accompanied by dysfunctional emotional expression. In this case, laughing. Yeah,
Emotional expression.
there's a lot of the social
Girly.
awkwardness. Yeah,
How
I mean,
feminine.
as many as 2 to 7 million people in the U.S. are said to have this, but it ranges in severity and are often misdiagnosed. There is no cure and could be the cause of some people's social awkwardness. That's why some people could be laughing all the time for or no reason.
Do they think it was caused by yellow dye number 5?
Hey, when RFK gets in there, that stuff is going to be gone.
Yellow dye number 5 makes us laugh at funerals. Honestly, I'm fine. I don't want anything that has like numbers in it or I can't pronounce it. I would rather not eat it. So
Yeah.
I've actually even before all this, like me and my wife, we'd actually went on like this where we've been trying to eat like not anything that's not processed. We're just straight up, we're getting the meat that's good, we're getting vegetables that aren't in a can and stuff like that, and just working really hard to keep that out, and then learn about all that other stuff, and it's like, oh God, that's way worse than I even thought.
Yeah, I heard if you're trying to eat healthy, stay away from the middle aisles and shop around the edge of the store where you go to your produce section and your eggs and dairy and your
just,
meat.
just 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 touch it around the edge. I
Yeah,
promise, not in the
don't
middle.
go through the
Just
middle when they get all the box stuff and all the stuff in cans.
yeah,
Stay
I'm
around the
just gonna
edges.
touch it around the edge,
Yeah,
just around the
just
edge. I
around the
promise.
edge.
Just around the edge. Just around the just gonna rub it around the outside. It's gonna be fine.
Now, lastly, can you be scared to death? And I'm not talking about having a heart attack. What I have found out, it is also a vasovagal response. You experience a sudden, intense fright. There is an overreaction with your body, and you can faint. That part is simplistic. Some people faint, some people throw a punch, like you alluded to earlier, socking your kid. Some people,
Yeah.
yeah, but some people have seizures. There is a case of a 21-year-old student who had repeated tonic-clonic seizures, meaning your,
Tonic seizures.
yeah, I never heard of it before either. It means body seizing up and loss of consciousness.
Okay, I was gonna say that sounds dirty, but okay.
Well, he's out. Might as well. Being induced by, but this was being induced by mental images of human pain. He also had a seizure by listening to someone reading to him of someone suffering. This only happens when a student was envisioning images of suffering or it being read to him. It was noted that he hasn't had an accident or incident since putting in a pacemaker, but it's still a mystery as to why hearing or seeing suffering would cause those symptoms.
That's really weird because that's like I have a physical reaction to that.
Yeah.
I talked about it in what it was episode one. Episode one is the one where I talked about that. Where like if I see somebody get hurt or whatever, like I was in the room when somebody got stitches removed out of their fingers, and I went and grabbed my finger. I couldn't help it. Uh, there's a movie I watched where somebody takes a basketball pump with the needle on it, and you don't see him put it in the guy's pee hole, but you
No,
know he did,
oh my
and
God.
it's just like ah, and at that point I flipped over on the couch and I'm grabbing my dick and I'm sitting there kicking my legs like a little girl,
And be like,
screaming.
hmm.
It pissed my cat off. My cat jumped on the back of my leg and started biting me, telling me to stop being such a bitch.
You looking for the cat?
Oh yeah, no, well, no, her ashes are up there,
Oh, you're looking
so
for the air pump.
I just it's one of those things like making sure she ain't gonna jump on me for talking about her. But her get ghost cat jump on me. So
Well, to sum it all up, all three can happen for basically the same reason: a sudden or intense reaction causing your body to overreact while dumping lots of adrenaline into your system. Depending on your heart condition, it could kill you. There are a few cases, as I laid out, that fall out of the realm of an easy answer. So, in my opinion, take care of your heart. You never know when a fit of laughter caused by a podcast partner, a broken heart caused by a lost family pet, or a late night phone call from one of your kids that will always scare any parent could be your last.
Jesus Christ, Jason, you're such a fucking. I want you to name this episode's "Bummer Time with Jason" or something along those lines. Like and I think the art on it needs to be your face. You don't have to like do a photo one, but you can let the AR art thing do a photorealistic of your face, just
Mhm.
with a big old frown, to be like,
Like Grumpy Cat.
yeah, it's the pouty podcast with Jason
It wasn't all
or
downy,
d-
downers.
depression time with Jason.
Well, I did write
Everything
this
ended with
very
death. Even
recent.
the happy stuff ended with death. You know how hard it is to be the ray of sunshine in this fucking
This
downer
is
of an
true.
episode.
This is true. We did take a 180 on
I feel like we should have took
things.
another week off after Oakley.
I promise next week I'll talk about poop.
Something,
Well,
please.
yeah, well, I did write this last week, as you can tell.
Yeah, well, you got so anybody that listened to this before, if you're going to recommend it to a friend, at least give them an antidepressant along with your podcast recommendation.
Hey, this made us real. We're real people who have feelings just like everybody else. We're not just some voices they hear over the radio.
I think they know we're real people, Jason. We're not. We don't sound that polished.
No. Well, speaking of real people, guess who friend requested me, or I finally accepted my friend request on Facebook?
Oh,
Mr. Leroy Luna.
oh, you know what? He's not my friend on Facebook.
Well, it took him like 6 months to approve it, but he
Oh,
finally did it.
see, I joined. I'm in his podcast group on Facebook,
Oh,
and he follows us on Instagram. But yeah, no, it's well. Look at you, Mister. I'm gonna be friends with like the big podcaster.
well, like I said, it
Uh,
took him a long time. He must have had to vet me pretty good. Or he finally heard one of our episodes. They're like, you know what? This guy's all right.
He's already listened, even
Well,
whenever
more
he
of our
first sent it.
episodes. Put it in a better way. More of our episodes.
Well, I was listening to his newest one today. It was funny. It was a good
I
one.
haven't got to listen to it yet. But let us know in the comments if any of this has happened to you or know of a case.
Let us know whenever you laugh to death. Put it in the comments below. Hey, did you die of a broken heart? Tell us in the comments below.
You could laughed and
Did you
passed out.
get scared to death? Rise from the dead and let us know in the comments.
Hey, we got to get some comments out there.
All right. Well, I mean, I guess you could be like, I guess, yeah, like you said, have you passed out from laughing too hard? Have
You
you
never
passed
know.
out while taking a dump? That's what I really want to know. I don't really care
I've
about the
came
other stuff.
close a
Tell
couple
me, yeah,
times.
tell us in the comments, or if you don't want to put it in the comments, you can hit us with the DMs on Twitter or Instagram or God, we're
TikTok.
on. But
We're
I don't think.
everywhere.
Can you do DMs on TikTok?
You can do messages, yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't really understand it.
I don't
Or
either.
Facebook. Or if you just want to put your shit out there, we can also email us at waywutpodcast@gmail.com. But yes, I would love to hear an actual story of somebody passing out because they're taking a shit. Not passing out. I mean, I've fallen asleep while taking a drunk shit. That's not the same.
That's not the
I
same.
want to know the thing about
That you had a
somebody's
trouble
pushing.
turd. Yeah.
Yeah, like the kind where you have to do Lamaze, or you have to be like Rocky and Rocky want to be like, cut me,
Yeah. Yeah. You
something
got to
like
take your
that.
shirt off.
Yeah, got to put stirrups on the toilet.
Yeah. You get a little pat down. Yeah.
Yes, tell me about and I want to know the aftermath. Like, were you found? Did you wake up? Did you wipe? I mean, tell
Well, you're
us the
still on the toilet.
story.
Yeah. Well, join us next time as Darrell turns his hospital gown around and this time actually ties it up as he brings us another topic that made him say, wait, what?
I guarantee you it will not be depressing. That's made for Mopey Jason there.
Well, not all of them are going to be about funny stuff.
Come on. All right.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you for joining us for Waywut. If you would, tell your friends or your enemies that they can watch us on YouTube or Rumble. And if you don't want to see our face, or if they don't want to see our faces, you can listen to us on your preferred audio platform. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, you name it, we're probably on there. Please like, review, and comment on whatever platform you joined us on today. We'd appreciate that a ton. Again, just thank you for listening and watching. We hope you'll join us next time. We'll make you say, wait, what?